Hi everybody, happy Painting Friday. I'm changing it up a little bit, gonna sit in front of the camera today. I have started this one before, talking about how you can add a piece to a space that really kind of is inviting. It's full of energy and openness. Being able to say to whoever comes into your space that you're giving that person energy, vibrancy, beauty, that type of thing, where when someone walks into a space, they understand that they're bringing that in with them. It was kind of always with them, but this space can be a place that maybe reminds you of that. Yeah, but don't want to go too much into the spiel today. Figured I would mostly just paint. Happy Friday. Hi everyone who's watching. I hope you're having a great Friday. A little early today, but I like trying different things, changing it up a little bit. Bringing some energy to your Friday, I hope. Or maybe just some relaxation when you watch me paint. I always just like making with everyone. That's my favorite part of doing these every week. I visited the art museum recently, and because I do often visit it, and I was looking at a set of Japanese, I think they were lithographs, and I was reading the story about it. It was really interesting. It was a woman, a Japanese woman in her 60s, who only got into it after her husband died. And she felt like she had the freedom to try more abstract experimental stuff. And it was just interesting how often many ladies, people I know, friends of mine, are afraid to like give something a try. But you know what? It's never too late. I know how that is. I'm jumping on here trying to make crazy paintings every week, and if you've watched many of them or any of them, something always tends to become a challenge. It's kind of fun, I guess. It's the uniqueness of painting live. Like, oh. Oh, but this woman's pieces, they were beautiful. And it just kind of made me think about the fact that, like, it's never too late to bring more beauty into your life. And maybe having something like this could remind someone who's been wanting to do it anyway to go ahead and take a leap. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the heart cat. I hope you're all having a great Friday. It's a holiday weekend coming up. If you've got plans, I hope you're enjoying the weekend, being safe, all of that. Tends to be a very busy travel weekend, so. Oh, see? It's not a painting Friday unless I drop something, huh? No. Pardon me. Drop my little brush. I'm going to switch to a little brush. Oh, man. Yep. The challenge of, like, how to roll with craziness every single week. I like bringing in a little brush because it gives it a little bit different texture. You can blend in different ways. It adds a interesting versus the bigger brush that can kind of add larger chunks of color. I'm also using that medium that likes to loosen everything up, but then it kind of gets drippy. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with drips. They're kind of fun, but I I don't like drips just for the sake of drips. I feel like they gotta have a little bit of meaning. So if I'm gonna be doing drips, this is kind of something I started in the floral realm. So if I'm gonna keep them, I think I like having them kind of almost feel like they are part of the floral, like the structure of plants. Maybe it's stems, leaves, things like that. That does kind of impact my choices and whether or not I bring in that material that adds drips. If you've watched me in the past, I do kind of like to just jump around. I don't know if there's any sort of like artistic reason for that. I think it's way more about, I like just feeling how the painting's coming along and just adding what kind of feels like it needs at this moment. So I do kind of just see where things are going. I like alternating between different textures, different size brushes. In a moment, I'm going to add in some lines because I like that kind of texture that it adds, the layering and then the cutting back into it. Can't see this so well, but I like getting my sides in there at the same time. I always kind of picture my paintings extending out into the universe. So edges are usually considered as part of the piece from the very beginning. Like coming in with, I've got a white pencil. I'm not sure if that'll do much today because I usually actually like coming in with white pencil once it's dry. So let's go with a darker pencil. We've got these elements that kind of, they have this vibrancy, this life, opening up this energy in here, this space. So if this is in your space, how does it draw your eye out, up, cutting into the paint to create these shapes that kind of start to feel a little bit like, I don't know if you know a lot about flowers, but they start to feel a little bit like sweet peas. They're these like binding flowers that are very kind of not quite have a geometric shape, but a little bit, and they have this like super sweet color. Sweet peas, yep. This like delicate color. Okay, come back in with the bigger brush. You know, after it's gotten a little bit of rinsing off, a little bit. And I'm liking this bright blue, teal, green color today. Well, dogs always like to participate. That is our downstairs neighbor dog. I don't know if you can hear him on the video, but they always like to be part of the video. It's part of living in a apartment building, some great neighbors. I'm using the edge of the brush to kind of create some strong lines, some shapes, some edges. Because I want to kind of keep these little floral guys, but on the stronger side, stronger edges. I like when things kind of blend together. Places like where it starts to flow a little bit, that's fun. But I do also kind of want these colors to not get too lost in there. The green out of there. I hope everyone's going to be enjoying the lovely weather this weekend. I hope it's lovely wherever you are. We're supposed to get some heat, but that's okay. I'm all right. Just anything but snow at the moment. I'm okay with snow when it's like full on winter, but I like appreciating the great summer weather while we can. Because if you know Chicagoans, the only thing we're better at than complaining about sports, especially the Bears, is the weather. No matter what the weather is, we'll find a way to complain about it. Bringing in some brightness here at the top, kind of pulling your eye down and into the rest of the piece, and then it's also kind of coming back out. It kind of is bringing you back in. It's kind of fun when things like that happen. Pulls in unique ways. Things like that. And then using the lightness to kind of draw your eye up and out as well. Sometimes I feel like I'm more finding a painting that already exists. So when things like that happen, it's like, oh, cool. Trying to figure out there's some structure going on here that needs a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, the first layer is always really kind of fun and loose, and as you start to bring more layers in, starting to figure out where you want it to go, which direction it's headed. Bring in a little bit of the light into the leafy bits. Happy Friday, everyone. Haven't said so already. Yeah, so working on this piece, I'm really starting to think about how I'm creating something that, if it was in a space, really is kind of inviting, is full of energy, is kind of communicating to someone, your client, or to a student, or maybe it's a guest. If it's somewhere like a Airbnb or something where you're saying, you're beautiful, you're full of energy, this space is also full of vibrancy and energy. How a piece can bring that into a space because it's intentional as I'm putting it onto the canvas. It's not, I mean, it is pretty colors, but it's not just pretty colors. There's thought behind why I'm using these vibrant colors, about why I'm choosing to abstractly represent flowers like sweet peas that are kind of delicate but beautiful, and because they're vining, they're very resilient, tenacious. Vining plants kind of have their way of making space for themselves. They get their way in there. They climb on things and get up to the sun. There's something about that tenacity, of that strength of it too. Pretty cool. So having that intention as I'm putting that into the piece, so that when you see it in your space, whether you know that was there, I think it's still there. I think you pick up on that. So if it is something like an Airbnb where someone's visiting, they get a sense for it. Yeah. Soften a few of these drips. Not a huge fan of too many drippiness because that gets kind of, I don't know. Word obnoxious came to mind. I'm not sure that's quite what I mean, but a little bit's interesting. I just want to make sure that it's not pulling you down too much, that it does feel like plants growing, so adding a little bit of upward movement to them can help with that. Yeah, okay. And then I like to, I think you guys have seen me do this before if you've watched much, but I like coming back in and carving kind of into piece. I know that's a little bit hard for you guys to see on the video, but it kind of like cuts into the wet paint. Places where the paint was a little dry, where I left things coming through, you can kind of start to see it. And I definitely like to come back once it's totally dry and either do a little bit more of that. It helps kind of give the piece the shape that I'm looking for. Sometimes I like doing it with the white, or I even have like a white, it's just like a gel pen, because it draws on acrylic really nicely. And that adds extra texture, adds the little bits of like detail that I like. It almost kind of feels like, with the white, it almost feels like light dancing. Little flowers on a sun speckly type day. So yeah, so I think that's pretty good for a second layer. I probably would want to add one more to give it a lot of depth. There's something about, it kind of depends on the piece really, whether or not it feels like it needs. Sometimes I like when you can see through and it's thin and you get that almost like translucent feeling. And then other places I like where it gets kind of thick and built up because it feels like dense, especially if I'm trying to capture things like natural elements like flowers. Having it feel kind of like how flowers build up like that. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching me today paint. I always love painting on Fridays, and it's changing up a little bit with the view today. So thanks for joining me. Have a good Friday. Bye.